He stood at my door, with a woman beside him and a child in her arms, and he smiled at me like I was a stranger. 3 years ago, he didn't say goodbye. He just left a note on the kitchen table. I need to find myself. Don't wait for me, 7 words. 7 words to end. 9 years of marriage. I read that note 40 times, hoping I missed something. There was nothing. My daughter was 5 years old. She asked me every single morning, "Mom, is Dad coming home today?" And every single morning, I lied. Soon, baby, soon. What I didn't know then was that soon would take 3 years, and when he finally came back, he didn't come back for me. People asked me for years, "Why did he leave?" I used to say, "I don't know." But I knew he had a dream, a business, a vision, a version of himself that didn't include a wife, a daughter, and a mortgage. He wanted to feel free. He wanted to feel big, and somewhere in his mind, we made him feel small. He met her 6 months after he left. She had no history with him, no arguments, no hard years, no 2 a.m. fevers and unpaid bills. She only knew the new him, the him he was trying to become, and that was easier to love. That's the truth. Nobody tells you. Sometimes people don't leave because you failed them. They leave because they failed themselves and they don't want to witness. But here's what destroyed me the most. He didn't even fight to stay. I worked 2 jobs, morning shift, night shift. I packed my daughter's lunch at 5 a.m. and tucked her in at 11 p.m. Some nights I sat on the bathroom floor. Just to cry where she couldn't hear me. I didn't want her growing up thinking, that love breaks you, even when it does. My mom told me to move on. My sister said he wasn't coming back. My heart said, wait, I know how that sounds. But when you give someone 9 years, you don't just delete them. Love doesn't have a delete button. It has a wound and wounds. Take time. Then one Tuesday afternoon, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. I should not have answered. It was him. His voice hadn't changed at all. That was the cruelest part. "I'm in town," he said. "Can we talk?" I wanted to say no. I wanted to protect myself, for once. But my daughter was sitting across from me, doing her homework, with his exact same eyes. So I said yes. I cleaned the house. I made coffee. I even wore something nice. Because deep down, I still had hope. I opened the door, and behind him was a woman, and in her arms was a baby boy. He said it quietly. We got married 8 months ago. His name is Eli. I looked at that baby. Innocent, tiny, perfect. And I felt something I didn't expect. Not rage, not hatred. Grief. Pure, quiet grief, like something inside me finally accepted. It was over. He kept talking. Paperwork, custody, doing the right thing. And then he stopped. He looked at me and said, "I'm sorry. I know I hurt you. I wasn't happy." I looked at him, really looked at him, and I said, "You weren't happy. I worked 2 jobs while you were gone. I told our daughter every morning that Daddy was coming home. I cried on bathroom floors so she wouldn't hear me. I prayed for you when you didn't deserve a single prayer and you weren't happy." I took a slow breath. You know what, Daniel? I wasn't happy either. But I stayed for our daughter. I stayed because I believed in us. I stayed because that's what you do. When you love someone, you don't run, you don't disappear. You stay, and you fight. He had no words. She had no words. The whole room was silent. And then I said the last thing, quietly, calmly, like it had been waiting inside me for 3 years. The problem was never that you were unhappy, Daniel. The problem is, you never learned how to love anything more than yourself. He looked down for the first time in 3 years. He looked down. And then I heard the bedroom door. My daughter walked out in her pajamas, rubbing her eyes. She stopped. She saw him. And her face. Oh, her face. She ran to him. Of course she did. She is 8 years old. He is her dad. Some things are bigger than our pain. He held her. He cried. And I sat there, watching a moment I had prayed for arrive 3 years too late, in completely the wrong shape. He looked at me over her shoulder, and I saw it. Regret. Not guilt, not pity, real, deep, permanent regret, the kind that lives in your chest and never fully leaves good. That night, I tucked her in. She looked up at me with those big eyes and said, "Mom, are you sad?" I smiled. I brushed the hair from her face, and I said, "No, baby. Mom is finally free." She believed me, and the most beautiful thing? For the first time in 3 years. So did I. He left us, thinking he'd win. But I didn't just survive. I thrived. After he walked out, I poured every tear into building a life. Morning to night, I worked. I learned. I grew. I started a small business, then expanded it. I saved every penny, every struggle, every sleepless night, turned into strength. 3 years later, he came back. But this time, not for love. He had nothing. His business failed. They were bankrupt. They lost everything. And me, I had a thriving business, a happy, confident daughter, a home filled with laughter. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. The success, the peace, spoke louder than words. He realized, too late, some doors, once closed, stay closed forever. And that is the most beautiful victory. So, this is my story, and I learned something. Some people leave your life, and you think it's your loss. But sometimes, God removes people from your life, not to punish you, but to protect you. And the woman who survives the leaving is always stronger than the woman who existed before. If you liked this story, do comment and share your life experience with me, and tell me what story you want to hear next.